I just went on this so-called monk mode where basically I deleted Instagram, deleted YouTube. It was just me, charts.
All right, folks, we've got Zanetrade on the show here today, all the way over there in California. Now, he's started trading when he was 16. He's now 21. For the last 3 years, he's been trading full-time. He's been trading investor and personal capital and doing very well, and that's why he's on the show. Folks, Zane, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cam. A pleasure to be here and be one of your guests. I used to watch your podcast, grew up with your podcast. Now I'm over here being having the pleasure to be one of your guests.
Awesome. Well, I'm so glad to have you on because I know your story's pretty awesome, coming from Afghanistan all the way to the US and starting from nothing. So we're going to dive in to first hear, like, when you think back to when you first became profitable, can you tell us about the things you did, the changes you made, what you discovered that really got you over that hurdle?
Before I started becoming profitable, I've always had this wrong mindset because the thing is I was surrounded by the wrong community. We have to understand one thing. We're in a very wrong community where we're unfortunately, no matter how much you achieve in this community, it's not enough. Because there's always a bigger and better fish out there. You know what I mean? So let's say if I make $1,000 per trade, the same exact trade, there's going to be another guy making $5,000 in the same trade. So that was one of my biggest mistake. I would always compare myself to big traders. For example, well-established traders that was in this industry way longer than me and had a way different start than mine, you know? So I would always compare myself to them. And the next day I would come and revenge trade. So if I made $100 yesterday, the next day I would be pissed. I'd be like, okay, this guy made, for example, $1,000 or $10,000 on the same exact trade that I made $100. Now I have to make $200 or $300. But I was executing through my emotions, rather being logical about it, because trading is mostly being logical and being well prepared, and it's all about psychology than strategy, to me personally at least. So I would come and be emotional about it and start trading, and instead of making money, I would blow accounts or I would lose. You know what I mean? Because I was just revenge trading and I was being emotional and I was trying to pass that other guy that I've seen on the internet or I seen somewhere that made more money than me or caught more pips than me.
Now, if you're loving the show and thinking, where can I go and trade? Why don't you check out my prop firm sponsor, Blue Guardian. Now, these guys have been around for ages. They've been sponsoring Trading Up for over a year. And some of the key features that make them so good is that they've got realistic profit targets for their challenge phases. It's only 8 or 4%. They also have a scaling plan up to $2 million, and they do profit splits of 85%, which is really high for this industry. They also have quick and reliable payouts and a robust reserve that make sure those payouts are as seamless and smooth as possible. Now, if you're looking to join, go and check them out. But first, grab my coupon code TradingNut, all one word. You're going to save yourself 25% off at checkout. There's a link in the description. Go and click that now. Right, let's get back on with the show. That's interesting. I mean, I don't even know if I don't think I've come across anyone who's sort of like been to that point where they're comparing themselves from that they won that trade. I was in the same trade, but they made more money than me. I mean, most people are quite happy with just that they made something. Can you talk us through how you sort of overcame that? I mean, what was the big thing that you did to stop that kind of behavior?
The thing is, Cam, I'm very competitive when it comes to everything in life. I like to be very competitive, and I have this mindset. No disrespect, don't disrespect to anybody, but in the back of my head, I always tell myself, if these chickens can do it, if these people can do it, anybody can do it, you know? If we're all human beings and we're all healthy, we all have 2 eyes, 2 hands, 2 feet. And if there's a person out there that made it possible and made it happen, everybody else can do it too. So I would be in that phase and stigma where I'll be like, okay, I would try to take that shortcut route instead of being patient, instead of taking my time with it and actually learning the skill. I would always compare myself. So what I did was I stopped comparing myself to those people, and I actually focused on the craft, and I actually paid attention on what exactly is going on with the market and what exactly is the market telling me. I actually put in the time. I've been trading since I was 16. Now I'm 21, like you mentioned. But for the past 5 years or so, this was so me comparing myself to other people and me comparing my achievements to other people happened the first 2 years. So from 17, 18 to 19, I was doing that. But as I grew more older and became more wiser, I did understood that that's not the route I want to take. I just focused on my own lane. I've been tunnel visioned ever since, and I've been just perfecting my own craft and focused on my own strategy and perfecting it every single day.
And can you think of a time like during that sort of transition phase where you stopped comparing yourself to people, you started to focus on your own trading? Can you talk us through maybe a story or a trade or a week or a month where you're like, I could see the big difference, and anything that sort of was around that to like helped you get to that point where you did have that profitable month or whatever it was, where you're like, I'm now on the right trajectory. I can see this actually working.
This was so it happened gradually because of course it doesn't happen overnight. One time because I was always active on Instagram, I kept on scrolling TikTok, especially on Instagram because a lot of traders are in Instagram a lot and YouTube. So I just went on this so-called monk mode where basically I deleted Instagram, deleted YouTube, and just it was just me, charts. That's it. I cut off every single person I knew. I just respectfully texted them that yo, I'm focused on my own journey and focused on myself to become to level up myself. Respectfully, I won't be available. And same thing with all my social medias and everything. I deleted every single one of them. It was just me, the charts, the graphs, and me just taking trades based on my analysis, based on my understandings, and what exactly I thought. And if those trades did go against my analysis, I went ahead and double checked what exactly I did wrong. Every single time I've made a mistake. Every single time that I've lost, there was a mistake that I've made. It's either I answered too early, I was emotional, I wasn't well prepared, or it was just revenge trading. Most likely, 99% of the time, I made a mistake. And I made sure to minimize that mistakes as much as I can and perfect the craft.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that. Like I mean, the fact that you took yourself away from everything else and focused only on yourself, I think that is in itself a massive thing that if anyone's listening should take away from this, because I think that's where all the gains actually come from. Now, we're going to dive into what sort of, I suppose, that step from that first run of profitability into being more consistently profitable, and you call yourself a consistently profitable trader. I know you did some amazing things like, you got invited onto huge live streams, the likes of Swaggy C, and, obviously investors came to you and asked you to trade their money. So what was that sort of thing that helped you get that consistency?
So the to help to what really helped me to get that consistency, of course, it was just being well planned and being strategic about this rather than being emotional about it. This game, we have to understand one thing: trading, it's more of a war to me. It's not something that I take very lightly. It's something that I take very, very serious, and I have this understanding where I'm trading and I'm competing against very smart people in this industry, which is banks, which is actually certified traders that dedicated their whole entire lives to this. I'm not saying I didn't, but imagine there's a 60-year-old sitting behind a screen that dedicated his whole life to trading. I'm competing against somebody like that where I'm a newbie to him, right? So if I'm trading against them, I have to be strategic and I have to be 10 times more clever and sharper than him. And I have to spend 10 times more the amount of time in the charts than him. And to in order to consistently maintain that win rate and consistently make profit. And you have to understand one thing: the profit and money is never yours until you close. And you have to be humble about whatever you made. Money is money at the end of the day, bread is bread. And whatever you made, close it, run away with it, come back the next day. There's always a next day, next month, next week, and next year. I always have this saying: if this month went bad, so be it. There's always a next month. I had a very bad month in May, but so far in June, I'm doing good. I'm profitable. I'm positive. It did not affect me um, a single second. It didn't. I didn't even thought about it for a single second because I understood that It's a part of the game, and every single business has its expense. And this was that expense that I paid, which was me being unprofitable for a month, or me being in a losing streak for a month, which was this past month. I came out negative. But this month, I'm already positive.
It's interesting, like some of these things that you're coming up with are kind of real cutting edge, not cutting edge, but they're real sort of mature thinking for a trader, i.e., thinking that I'm competing against a guy who may be 60 years old who spent 25 years at the charts, thinking that that the money is like a business. I'm going to lose some months, win some others. I mean, what were some of the things that helped you get that level of intelligence, experience at such a young age?
I think it's the majority of the reason why I came up with these conclusions is based on my background. I come from a very poor family. I don't come from a well fed family. I come from a very poor family that had to work every single day in order to put food into the table, in order to put water into the table. Because believe it or not, I was 4 years old, 5 years old. I remember we didn't have access to water. I had to go walk miles away to fill up water and bring it back to home. And that was me being a 4 year old. And I always had this very strategic plan to every single thing. I always had this mindset where work smarter, not harder. And then I think one of the big aspect that really helped me is I have a very business or entrepreneur mindset to everything, and I treat everything as a business or a chess game. To me, everything is a chess game. I always think 10 steps ahead of me, and I always think of the outcome of every single move that I make. And especially if there's something that, for example, in chess, if you're the person that you're competing against, every single move he makes, it's to take you down, right? So if you're not sharp enough, you're going to be checkmate. But if you're sharp enough, you can avoid that checkmate. So same thing in trading, same thing in life. You have to be very sharp minded, and you have to be very disciplined, and you have to be logical about everything and strategic about every single move you take. And you have to balance it and really scale the outcome of the bad and good. A lot of people, when they try to start something or when they try to get into big businesses or a lot of big decisions that they're making, they're in that dopamine level where they're just being emotional and they're always thinking about the good things, the good things. Oh, well, for example, let's say I'm starting a business, or let's say I'm starting to go to the gym. I go to the gym. I in my mind, all I'm thinking about is the six pack, but I'm not thinking about what it takes to get the six pack. I go there for 1 week, I go there for 2 weeks. The third week, I'm unmotivated, I'm undisciplined, I'm disappointed. I'm like, well, I didn't get the six pack. Now I'm gonna go back and do what I was doing before by being fat and being lazy and being a cook, So same thing in everything. I think the majority of the time, what really helped me was being disciplined and being well strategic about every single thing. And I did not rely on motivation whatsoever. I don't believe in motivation, and I think it's more of being consistent and more of being disciplined.
Mm. And to be strategic, you kind of need to, at least sort of take a step back and sit down and think about things and then go, right, here's my strategic approach. I mean, how did you do that? I mean, did you have any sort of tools or techniques to get into that strategic thinking kind of mindset?
I've in every single industry I get in, I always try to surround myself with the people that are well established. So when I started trading back in like I think it was 2019 or 2019ish. Okay, I started trading. I just got on YouTube and searched how to trade, and I watched every single video there. And I remember 2020ish, late 2020ish, I used to watch your live streams a lot too. I would watch traders that would come to your podcast, and I would go do my research about them and see what exactly they're doing. And I would put in hours and hours and hours into this craft and really see what exactly is working and what exactly they're doing and what am I doing that is not working, you know? So majority of the time, the way I came up with my own plan is copying other people, copying you, for example, copying him, I'm copying so and so, and then I came with my own strategy. And basically, ever since I came with my own strategy, I've been focused on this strategy and just perfecting my own craft.
Hey folks, what a view behind me. I'm at Black Bull Markets headquarters here in Auckland, New Zealand. Speaking of views, you can get TradingView paid plans for free at Black Bull Markets, saving you up to $600 a year. That's right, get either the Essential, Plus or Premium plans absolutely free, and all you need to do is trade from one lot a month at Black Bull Markets. And you can also get a 100% deposit bonus for your first deposit up to $1,000. All you need to do is click the Trading Nut link in the description below. So how would you advise aspiring traders to get to the point where you're at now?
I would advise anyone that is trying to become a trader to never give up, never ever compare yourself to others. And you have to understand one thing: you have to really lock in this industry. If you really want to make money, you have to really lock in. This industry is not a get quick rich scheme. This is not that type of scheme. It requires discipline. It requires late nights. It requires early mornings. You're gonna have to sacrifice a lot of things. You're gonna have to sacrifice your friends, your close family, every single thing, and you have to really dedicate your life to this. And if you actually do that, and if you actually execute everything to that, you will not get disappointed. But if you're gonna half-ass through everything and half-ass it, then I think it's best to stop and don't even try it. Because this industry is a very serious industry. You have to understand one thing, Cam. 97% people fail in this industry. You know why? Because they don't try. If they actually truly put in the effort, I don't think they will fail. I truly do not think they will fail, but they have to put in the hours, the time, and to really be patient about this. And one thing is, you have to detach yourself from the blue screen. You have to detach yourself from the Rolexes, chauffeurs, all that crazy lifestyle. That has to go away from your mind, and you have to just focus on this trading and really learn what exactly is this, what exactly the charts are telling you, what exactly it's about. Once you learn that, all these other things, those are bonus. Those it's like me planting a tree and me watering it, and I don't expect anything from it, but I'm dedicated to that tree to grow it, to actually get to where it's supposed to get. And once it gets to that where it's supposed to be, it gives me fruits, or I lay down under the shade.
Yeah. It's funny that you say it, because I probably was one of those people that you're talking about, where like trading was something that I obviously talking to a lot of other traders about, but I was running a podcast, and all my attention was pretty much focused on the podcast, and I couldn't really give enough focus to trading.
Yeah.
And I've finally started to make that shift, and I'm I looked at my screens the other day, and I'm like, I've got 3 charts up on one on each screen. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, right. I'm kind of finally there, where my focus is now heavily on the trading, and the podcast just sort of ticks over now, so it's in a good space. It's funny you say that. So yeah, there is a lot with what you've just said there, and I think you folks, if you're not taking it 100% seriously, you're not putting everything into it. There's words of wisdom there you need to go and listen to again. Now, talking about where you're going to go forward into the future. You're a young guy. What things are you looking to improve on? What are you working on at the moment? What kind of is it strategy stuff or mindset stuff? Where are you focused to try and improve where you are as a trader?
I think so. Based on my experience for the past couple of years, every single year there's a change in this the trading, the graphs and everything. For example, I used to trade. So in 2020, 2021, I used to trade London session, London Open. Then London, I don't know if you remember, but GJ was moving insanely crazy in 2020, 2021, and then early 2022. And then after that, I started trading gold, then US 30, then back to gold. So every single year, there's a huge change in the market. And as a trader, as a professional trader, you have to be willing to adjust. You have to be willing to adjust to those changes because it's going to happen. Sometimes, for example, with gold, I'm trading gold. I've been consistently trading gold for a year now. Every 3 months, there's a cycle with gold. So every after 3 months, you will get one bad month, and I'm always prepared to that one bad month. It's not me, it's the market and the way market is moving. And the first week I might have a losing streak, then I go back and check exactly what's going on, and I adjust myself to that. So as for the next couple of years, I'm always a student of my craft. I will always be learning. There's always room to improve, but I will just be focusing on being just consistently learning because markets are changing. Markets are always shifting, and I will just be focused on consistently adjusting with the market.
And how do you do that? Can you talk us through how you sort of adjust with the market? Because it kind of seems like to somebody listening, they might be going, "Hang on a sec, how does he know when to adjust, or how does he know what to adjust so that he's not like, setting himself up for, I suppose, a strategy hop or something like that, whereby you've moved to one market and it's just as bad as the other one." I mean,
Yeah,
what's the sort of genesis behind this?
that's a very good question. So I would give you an example. For example, in May this past month, I was unprofitable. I I exactly knew there's something wrong with the market because there's no way I would be profitable. I'm very humble. I try to be very humble as I can be, but I really believe in my strategy. I know who I am, and I know what my strategy is about and what kind of trader I am. There's no way I would be in a losing streak for a whole month. It never happened to me. So I went ahead and just looked at trading and exactly what's going on in those time zones that I used to trade. For example, I have a clock in time. My clock in time is at 6 a.m. California time. So from 6 a.m., I'll be done by 7:30. But in May, from 6 to 7:30, it ranged kept on ranging, but then the next morning I would come to gold, it would be dropped like 200 pips, 300 pips, 400 pips. So I just went ahead and looked at my charts and see what time is exactly consistently moving in that time. So I kind of just adjusted myself this month to those times that it actually moves. So it used to move from 6 to 7:30. Now it moves at 8 from 8 to 9. So this morning I caught a trade which was about 140 pips. Believe it or not, it moved at 8 a.m. At 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. That's where I moved. But where I usually was trading, which was from 6 to 7:30, I would have not caught that move. I would have been clapped. But I ended up managing to catch about 140 pips just because I adjusted myself. And same thing with Thursday because I only trade from Monday to Thursday. Sometimes Fridays, but I don't like to trade Fridays. I'd like to keep myself um, busy with other things. So Monday to Thursday. On Thursday, I caught another trade which had 100 pips. It was same thing. It was on 8 a.m. move, not on 7:30 or 6 a.m. It ranged on 6:30 to 7:30.
Can you talk to us a little bit about your trading performance / track record over the past year or two?
So over the past year or two, I've managed to consistently have a 5 to 10% gain every single month. But there was months that I was negative, and there was months that I was breaking even. But I would say overall, it's about 10% to 5 to 10% on the accounts that I manage for my own personal account and also my investors account. For example, in April, I managed to gain about 25%, not 25 to be exact, 27% gain on 1 month on one account. Um, but there was May that I was in losing stage, and then there's June. As far as June, right now, about 4% up on my account.
Is there somebody can go to see your track record?
Of course, they can go ahead and take a look at it on Instagram. That's where they can find me at. They can see every single trade that I've taken publicly. They can see it there. I've tried to highlight as many trades as I can. Lately, I haven't been posting as much trades, but I'll be very consistent with it. And I will also come out with a platform where every single trade I take, regardless of what kind of trade it is, they will have access to it and they will see every single trade of mine, what exactly I did, what time did I take it, when did I close. So every single step, they will see it.
Awesome. Well, like what we'll do, we'll hook up that link in the show notes, folks. Now, is there? Now, picture this, right? You're a struggling trader. You got 10 hours a week to commit to trading. How would you break up those 10 hours to have the best chance of reaching their first spell into being a profitable trader?
It all comes down to time management. I would break down to those 10 hours into just dedicating everything to trading. So if I have 10 hours, for example, when I was coming up in trading, I so I was a full-time high school student. And then, so from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., I would be in school. So 3:30. It will take me 30 minutes to get home. So 4 p.m. to 11:30, I would have a shift in Wendy's. I used to work in Wendy's. I was a fast food server. So I would work there. So from 11:30 to 2, I would trade London session. So 11:30 p.m. to 2 a.m. at night, I would trade London session because London session is at night. So if I had 10 hours so let's say if I had 10 hours a week, I would just give those 10 hours strictly into learning, not trading, not focused on prop firms, not focused on money, nothing else but learning and learning. That's what I would dedicate those 10 hours. And then once I figure out the formula, what I could do is give 5% into 5 hours into trading and 5 hours to learning. And then I would just cut it down.
And when you say learning, where would you go to learn?
There's a lot of free resources online, YouTube, Instagram. For example, I post daily reels every single day, and I don't charge a single penny from a single person. And on every single reel, I have captions and I have free resources or free knowledges that I find it helpful. I try to share it with traders. And there's free resources online, YouTube. They don't have to pay for courses. All they have to do is if they don't want to watch YouTube, if they don't want to watch Reels, if they don't want to be on Instagram, just look at trading and just look at the graph and ask yourself what exactly is going on in the graph. Let's say there's a huge drop that happened or a huge move that happened to the upside. Ask yourself, how could you be able to catch that move when it happened next time? Okay. Ask yourself what exactly price action did, what exactly price did to move, to make that move happen. So I would just be very tunnel vision into the graphs. And if I don't want to spend that years or months into learning, I would just be focused on YouTube and watch somebody that is well established. And if I don't want to watch YouTube, then Instagram.
Awesome. Now, when it comes to finding a strong edge in the market, what areas would you recommend somebody study?
Price action, trend line, market structure. These three are the most important aspect of trading, and these three are the language of trading, in my opinion. Especially price action, candles and wicks are the most important aspect of trading. If you know what exactly price action is doing, what exactly candles are doing, and you kind of add a market structure to that as well as your trend lines, you're good to go.
And when you say price action, just so that people have got a bit of context there, you said candles and wicks. Are you talking about like a cluster of candles or individual candles or like one or two candles? Or all of the above?
All of the above, honestly. So for example, me personally, I'm a scalper. So I trade, so when I open my charts, I go from 4 hours to 1 minute, I pay attention to every single wick. So for example, on the 1 minute, I'll pay attention. So I would not take a trade if it doesn't disrespect the previous trade, the previous wick. Let me just repeat that again. So I will not take a trade until it disrespect the previous wick. So let's say there's two candles and the next candle opens, it makes a wick, it drops back. I'll take a trade below the previous wick. So I'll enter a trade. So I'm very serious about my candles and my wicks, especially on lower time frames, because I am an impulse trader and I take impulse entry. The only reason I take impulse entry is because of wicks.
Brilliant. That's a great little insight there, folks. So go and I'll tell you what, we're going to jump onto a price chart in just a second, where we're going to see some of the stuff that Zane does. Now, before we do that, what's the best way for traders to get hold of you?
Instagram. I'm always there. If they have any questions, I always answer, and I will always make sure I lead them into a good direction. I don't sell any courses. I don't sell any signals. I don't do none of those stuffs. I'm just focused on actually putting free value. Maybe down the road I will do courses, I will do signals, but at the moment I'm not. And even if I'm doing it, it's very limited, very, very limited.
Well, folks, what we'll do is we'll put a link up here to the video we're about to shoot where he's going to break something down on a price chart. So make sure you go and check that out when you get a second, or head down there, find the link, and you're going to find a link to all the show notes and the links that Zane has just mentioned. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next one.